Hi guys, welcome back to the Codefreak channel. Freak out as you code. So in this tutorial, we will look at what exactly JSON is, and then why do we need it, and then we'll look at the two functions which are very important, which is stringify and parse, and we'll be also discussing many bonus tips also in the middle. So and also various things. I'm going to go into depth with respect to JSON methods. Okay, so let's start off. So what exactly is JSON? Okay. So JSON full form is JavaScript Object Notation. It's a general format to represent values on objects. It is described as an RFC 4627 standard. It was initially made for JavaScript, but other languages nowadays have started having libraries to use it. So it is easy to actually use data which is in JSON format, okay, for data exchange. It's also used in Ruby, PHP, Java, and many more. Okay, so there are two main functions, stringify and parse, which are actually used. Okay, so now let's look at why do we need JSON as such. Okay, so let's say we have a complex object and we want to convert it to a string and send it over a network. We can actually use toString function and then return them by converting it into a string by using the backticks and all, but that may take a lot of time. So that's why we actually need to use this stringify, which automatically does it for you. All right, but let me tell you some few rules. So strings which actually have double quotes or which have backticks and single quotes are converted to double quotes. So coming to the object properties as such, so all of the keys also are quoted. So you can see the example here which I've put. So JSON also supports the following data types, that are objects, arrays, and also primitives including strings, numbers, boolean values which are true or false, and null. So these are some examples. Go ahead and see some examples. So let me use alert here, and then maybe, so how do you use this JSON actually? So you put capital JSON dot stringify. So stringify, that is the function there. So let's first check out with a number. All right, so let's see how it looks. So I guess it's better if we do console.log. So let me show you that also, because we have used console.log a lot. So with console.log, let me do this. So you can see you got one, right? So now let me do one more example with a single quotes. So hey, so you got hey with double quotes. See, I told you that. If you put backticks also, it gets changed automatically. So now let me show true. I'm just taking all the examples from the basic things. Okay, so true. So in JSON, a number is a number only, and a string becomes double quoted, and a true is it's true only. And then let's look at an array. Okay, so let's have an array here. 1 2 3. Yeah, that's a simple array, right? Let's look at how it is shown in JSON. So you have it this way, right? So I'll have an object outside here. So let me create an object. So let me just call it obj. Simple, right, to handle. And then let me just give it one property name colon just some name, Codefreak, right? Let me put obj here, and let's see what happens. So you got name. See, name, the key also is put in a string format, right? So let me make a function func, and let this function have some alert. Okay, alert some hi. Okay, so if this is there, so now let us see what happens here. See, the function as such is not there here. That is something which you can remember. But if you have another object inside this, so if you have another object, so let me just give it obj2, and then let's just put colon and do this, and then maybe we'll have one property maybe called name again. So yeah, you can have it like that, right? So let me just put in there a freak out, just something like that. Okay, you have to put a comma here, right? Otherwise it won't work. Not a class, it's an object. So you can see that you have one more key, and then you have it's done properly, but it's actually not looking at the function. Let's have one more object, which is object, let's call it obj3, and let's have a name here also, maybe something like as you code. Okay, so I'm just trying to do something here. Okay, so now in case you have something like obj dot occupy, I'm just randomly doing, okay, something equal to obj3. So you're making one more thing like that. So now actually if you see, what happens is you get occupy here as a property and you store whatever is there in obj3. All right, their name as you code, basically that's what. So but if you have something like obj 3 dot maybe some other word, so let's give it QWERTY. Okay, QWERTY equal to obj. So like you're doing a chain, so you're having one occupy property in obj here, which is obj3 object, and then you're having QWERTY here, and then which is having object. It's like a circular thing, right? So let's see what happens here. So it gives an error. So yeah, it's called a circular reference. So when you have a circular reference, it doesn't accept it. Okay, so there is one more thing which helps us actually here. So when you come to the stringify, actually you have three values, which is one is this property which we have used, which takes the string or the object or whatever, and then you have actually something called a replacer, and you have something called a space. So how much space you want to store, stuff like that. So these two things are also there. So what is a replacer? So let's look at all of this. So here you have a value, replacer, and space. So value is a value to encode, and replacer is an array of properties to encode or a mapping function. It can be any of those. And then space is the amount of space you want to use for formatting. All right. So that's how it is. So now let's actually try to use these properties, replacer and space. So the value is going to be obj again, obj first, obj, and then you put a comma here, and then you give an array of all the things that you want to select. So all the properties names that you want to select, maybe name. So wherever name is there, it will select that. You have to put it in a string. Okay, you can do it this way, name, and then first let's do this much, and let's save and see what happens now. So you got name. So we have wherever the property name was there, it took that. Okay, so maybe you want obj2 also, so you can put a comma here and then type obj2. Then you can see that it takes obj2 also, both of them, and it shows you that. All right, so this is actually being very strict. You can put all of them also and do it. I'm not going to show you that. So now actually let's go to space 2. So maybe you want the space to be 2. So now let's see as to how it works. So you can see there's some spacing here, right? So that is what it does. So maybe you want the spacing to be 7. So let's see how it looks now. I think it's going to be messy. See, maybe 4. So you can see that the spacing as such as is 4. Okay, so the tab, basically the tab spacing, or the spacing which you have here, that's what is represented by the space. So there's one custom thing called ToJason. So for example, here let me have a ToJason. Okay, one function like that. Okay, ToJason function, and then inside that you want to do return the name. So you have just name right here, this dot name. Okay, obj3. So it will automatically call the ToJason function, I guess. Unexpected identifier, because you have not put a comma. So let's do this. So it just takes as you code. So whatever is there here, whatever it's returning, that's what it converts into JSON. So now if I do obj, and let me just show you this. So you have this, right? So maybe you want to take this and store it in a particular variable. So let me just take it out, and then let's make a variable here. Let a equal to that whole thing. Okay, we have made it a string, and then we want to get it back to an object or stuff like that. So we use JSON, okay, dot parse. So that is the that's the function that we actually use. So it's used to decode a JSON string. Okay, so here there are some parameters again. Okay, so the first parameter is the value. So you have the value here, and then you can have an array of the revivers. Okay, it's called reviver. Okay. This is the boilerplate as such. So now let's go ahead and put in the value. So the value is gonna be a, right? And right now let's not use any revivers first, and then I'll show you with respect to the revivers also. So you got name, so you got an object here, right? Proper object. So now let's use a reviver. Actually, if you see, there's something nice here. Even though you had this circular kind of thing here, but still there was no error because you used the ToJason function. Okay. So for the reviver, actually, let me show you one nice example here. So I'll just comment out all these things here, and let's go below, and then let's try to do this. So say I've created a string here. So let me create a string str, which is going to be equal to okay. So here I have created a string, okay, which has a title and which has a date. So this is something new, I guess, for people who don't know about date. I guess you should know about date, otherwise you can just watch this. Okay, so say you want to revive this. Okay, maybe you want to create another variable, or we'll just do console.log, and then you want to do JSON, again JSON.parse. Okay, and then you want to parse this whole object or this string. Okay, so actually now you should be getting some kind of an error. That's what I think. No, you're not getting an error, but it's like a string right here. It's like a string, but you want it as a date. Date is one more type, right? Data type as such here. So for that you use this reviver. So how do you use this reviver? You can just make a function here. So you make a function, yeah, which has two parameters, key comma value, right? And then you can put the curly brackets there like that, and then you can do if key equal to date, then you can return new, you can create a new date with the value. Okay, you're using the value. Else what you want to do, or otherwise what you can do is you can just return the value, right? So that is with respect to that. Let's see what happens. You got here a date, invalid date. Okay, it's I think the date which I've put here is invalid. Is the problem, right? That is why it's invalid. So now let's check it. So see, you got a proper date, Tuesday, July 7th, 2020. The time is also there here. Okay, GMT, India, whatever, all that. Okay, so that's how you can actually work with respect to the reviver. So that's it for this video, guys. If you watched till here, put a like, subscribe, share. Bye. Solve the questions here also.